Hey everybody, welcome back to Choose Inclusion. I'm UB Simignetti, and today I'm joined by one of my co-hosts. The other is not feeling well, and we hope he is feeling better soon. But hi, Nina.
Hey, Yubi.
Um,
Yeah, we're missing Mike today, but everyone is allowed to have an off day. It is okay
that
to
is
be
right.
Very true.
not okay.
That
So,
is right. Well, and we missed it. We're missing him because I know he would love to have a conversation with our guest, Dean Haynesworth, who is the CEO and founding partner of Black Progress Matters and Panther Data Solutions, because it's really, like, I guess in summary, it's using technology to move us forward in these conversations around systemic inequalities and oppression through particularly through our language, right, and our communication. So we're going to dive into that, but first of all, Dean, how are you, man? How's it going?
I am wonderful. Thank you, Nina, and thank you, UB, for having me on today. And I'm sorry Mike couldn't join us, but you nailed it, Nina. Certainly, everybody is due some time off here and there, so hopefully we'll get him back for the next podcast.
Absolutely. So yeah, I mean, so well, first of all, talk about your background, your journey to get in here.
Yeah. So really, what Black Progress Matters is, what BPM stands for, is it's really the culmination of my partners and I, collective 130 plus years of corporate experience. And rather than just kind of throw money at social injustices, what we thought would better be to be done would be to create this kind of ecosystem, if you will, that helps solve some of these problems. And so what we've done is really create this, consortium of four different pillars that we believe that BPM is founded on. First and foremost, it's our executive minority staffing program. We truly believe that if you look at the top of any organization and your particular minority isn't represented, you genuinely don't feel like there's an opportunity for you to excel and succeed in that corporation or that enterprise, and have a successful career there. So what we're really trying to do is identify opportunities of these leadership openings throughout the corporate world and secure them for the purposes of those positions being filled by people that come from a diverse background. Because all the studies, Nina and UB, have shown that if you have a company that has diverse leadership, it will be successful. And once this is established kind of throughout an enterprise, the successes of that company just absolutely go through the roof. So that's our mission and that's our goal. First and foremost is to really change the diversity and complexion of corporate America. Secondly, we have our incubator, which we're incubating health and beauty products, all natural cleaning supplies, and then first and foremost for us is our Panther Data Solutions technology stack, which I'll jump into here shortly and share with you some of the amazing things we're doing with technology to help solve some of these injustices. Our third pillar is our representation program. So if there's a more mature company in the marketplace that's a minority owned and operated business, we kind of help them, revamp their business plans and then identify opportunities for there's several diverse supplier initiative programs throughout the corporate space that once accessed properly can lead to successful relationships with those businesses that are seeking the relationship. So we're really helping folks identify those opportunities. And then lastly, we have our internship program that kind of completes the ecosystem. So as I mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, executive minority leadership starts at the top, and all the way down to the bottom of these organizations. If we can help young minorities that are entering corporate America identify internships, again, like all the studies and data show that if you secure an internship before your graduation within your chosen career path, the chances of you having a successful launch upon graduation are far better than just sort of waiting until you get that diploma and seeing what's available in the marketplace. So we really believe UB and Nina, that the culmination of these four pillars is really, just very unique experience to help, change, the diversity problem that we have right now in corporate America.
Well, in Jordan, your daughter was your first intern, is that right?
Yes. So Jordan, who just is a recent graduate of the Arizona State, University's WP Carey Business School, was our first intern, not only our first intern, but she is now working for us. And
Oh,
Jordan,
wow.
yeah, it's amazing. So Jordan now is the director of business development for our executive minority staffing program. So it's just been a pleasure to watch her, gravitate towards this mission and find it, strongly enough and believe in it strongly enough that she wanted to have this, be her career. So yeah, this is, thanks for asking that, UB. It's just been a very exciting time for us.
Well, yeah, and you also had some other big wins recently too, Dean, right? Like you just launched a partnership with a major corporation. Can you tell us a little bit about that and what that's gearing up to look like?
Yeah, so Nina, we through our executive minority staffing program, which is, again, that's what this company was founded on. That's what BPM was founded on, was that belief that if we changed, the composition of the leadership suite and the C-suite in corporate America, that we could really effectuate change immediately. So when we, sought out and started to call on the enterprises that, we kind of aligned with and identified with, the Oshkosh Corporation um, was just this unbelievable opportunity that they saw in us and we saw in them. They were just recently awarded a $6 billion contract with the federal government to overhaul the USPS trucks from gas to electric. And so with that, they needed to hire a completely new leadership team and, build out this portfolio to change, these vehicles from gas to EV. And so they came to us and said, "Hey, look, we know we have this problem where, we can't attract these diverse candidates for leadership positions because we're in these historically kind of rural manufacturing towns that don't have a lot of diversity to begin with. So how do we solve this problem?" They thought the best way to do that was to partner with Black Progress Matters to, not only bring forth the best qualified minority candidates, but, not just for the interview process, but to actually employ them and hire them in leadership positions. And that's exactly what they're doing. So it's just been this amazing relationship, Nina, where, they identified a problem inherently with their organization and have taken the bull by the horn, so to speak, and tackling it head on and using, our executive minority staffing program to help change the dynamic of their leadership team. So it's just been this amazing experience so far. And I believe we have 2 positions filled of 15 that they immediately gave us. So an unbelievable opportunity and just a, amazing success story with Oshkosh.
What are there any secrets to finding a diverse group of candidates for these executive roles? And I ask that because our audience is always, they're looking for help, right? Like to they want to hear how others are doing it. And you hear different things out there like, oh, there's a war for talent, or I just, the diversity isn't out there in the candidate pools, but it's just not true, right? Like, how do you find these candidates that apparently don't exist?
UB, that's a great question. And I think it's kind of very similar to the old chicken and the egg theory, right? Which comes first? And if you aren't, active, like, for example, like Oshkosh, they came to us with this problem and we came to them with the solution. And the solution involves, it's kind of a double-edged sword, right? Where Oshkosh alone couldn't, attract these candidates, but by, partnering with us, and through our network of, you know, HBCUs, through, our affiliations with, minority groups on LinkedIn. Certainly, technology has allowed us to identify these potential candidates, UB and Nina, that just historically we haven't been able to do through just submitting your resume through ZipRecruiter, or through the various kind of large platforms where people can identify potential employment opportunities. There's no singular solution that says, hey, where can diverse candidates of diverse backgrounds have a voice, and we really want to be that voice. So we're actively recruiting and creating this talent pool of leadership that's beyond our wildest imaginations. And so again, getting back to the old chicken and the egg theory, is what these corporations are putting out there. If you just look around and historically look at their hiring practices, they haven't been the best. And so by aligning themselves with a Black Progress Matters, they've been able to attract this diverse candidate pool that they haven't historically been able to do. So that's really, Nina and UB, our secret sauce, without giving it away on this podcast, is just really relying on not only our historical network of diverse clients, but aligning ourselves with future leaders to so that when these openings do come to us, we can plug and play right away.
Yeah, relationships are just so critical. I think that's the one that's in some ways the secret sauce, UB, right? It's like you have to, it's not, there's no quick fix. It's about building long-term relationships and long-term trust that's going to eventually lead to that change. And you get an easier solution by partnering with a Black Progress Matters, by reaching out to a dean, but it's still an investment that needs to be taken seriously and really thought through. Not just a solution that'll come in overnight with no work or resources put into it.
Yeah, exactly. No, I totally agree. And I think that was my point, right? Is like, you can't make excuses anymore, because it's out there, right? It's out there for the taking. There are people out there. You as an organization, you've got to confront your own biases that are keeping you from looking all over the place and really making those relationships and connections work, and partnering with organizations like BPM and figuring it out. But you have to do the work.
No, you summed it up, and Nina, you, I believe, mentioned a word that is not used, frankly, quite frankly enough, and that's intent, right? Intention. You have to intentionally want to, change the complexion of your leadership team. You have to, with intent, seek out, diverse candidates. If you just, say, oh yeah, we got a problem here, and sooner or later it will change itself, it's not going to change itself. And so the enterprises and corporations that have reached out to us and said, hey, we want to be leaders in this space, we want to be on the forefront of identifying and changing this problem, are going to be the companies that attract these candidates that have diverse backgrounds that are going to be successful, right? And it's truly by intently going out and wanting to change those things that it's going to happen.
Well, Dean, one of the other things that you're working on that I think is, really fascinating, because, Mike, UB, and I we're all a bunch of tech geeks. You're working on bringing in some new tech into the industry that'll really have a huge impact on how conversations are happening in companies. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. It's probably, outside of my daughter being our first intern, the most exciting thing to me is, through our incubator program, we developed a company called Panther Data Solutions. And what we're doing there, Nina, is we've taken and repurposed, technology that's historically been used in the financial services sector to, really help create an equal playing field within the communication space within enterprises. And so, what we've done is to provide a proactive solution to really help identify bias in the workplace. And, through the use of technology and a customizable lexicon that each, corporation is responsible for helping us build out, we've been able to, help deploy technology that could potentially, help change the behaviors across an enterprise as it pertains to bias and bias communications. It's just an amazing time to, for inventors and technologists to be alive, because we can use technology that is, widely available at our fingertips to really help solve problems.
Yeah, I mean, that's to Nina's point. Like we we're geeks and and nerds, and we love that technology can absolutely be a huge support mechanism. I mean, it can do things that we can't. Now, the problem you run into is when we try to use AI, for example, to replace us in very critical functions, right, within an organization. Um, that's where things can become a problem. What's the approach you all took to kind of avoid that?
Yeah, UB, what we've done is we've completely removed AI from all of our algorithms. So, what we're doing with our racial bias alert tool is really using a combination of NLP and just, our own inherent algorithms that we've developed around proximity and tone understanding and location of words. And the combination of those three or four things have really allowed us to identify potential bias, statements and words and phrases without using AI. Because as we've, talked about on previous phone calls, you know, we all have, biases that are built into our own personal mainframes, and certainly technology, which is built right by human beings, in particular AI, tends to create, internal biases within that technology stack. And so what we've really tried to do is work with our developers to, we've taken it all out. There is no AI in any of our technology stacks. And then, really work on building algorithms that, are constantly evolving and learning and changing with the change of biases that, every day we understand that there's new words and phrases that are being used to marginalize different minority groups. And so certainly want to be on the forefront of preventing that from happening.
What's on the horizon for you all? Like what, um, how does all this play together? How do you see kind of the future playing out over the next couple of years? In particular, post COVID, a year after George Floyd's murder, where are things shaken out in your mind?
Yeah, UB, that's, we as a technology company have really, taken the feedback from our early customers and really tried to position ourselves to be, uh, you know, on the front edge of this sort of bias eradication. And one of the things that we've, come up with and that is going to be launched here very shortly is our unbiased app. And some of the things, from our initial customers, they were like, hey, this is great that we were able to identify and potentially flag these bias words and statements, but what if you had the ability through your technology to prevent them from going out? And so we got, our crew together and thought, hey, okay, this is a problem that we need to solve. Like, how can we do this? And so, not unsimilar to, Grammarly, we've developed an app called the Unbiased app, and it's a play on the word unbiased and IT that really is allowing folks to not, use words and phrases that could be potentially harmful, through enterprise communications. And so, if this was being deployed throughout an enterprise and I was going to send you or need an email, and I open it up, start to type, and as I'm typing, it would make suggestions to my grammar to, potential words that may be harmful or phrases that may be harmful, through my communication. And so, that's really our next step, UB, to answer that question, or what do we see on the horizon? The ability to prevent these potential harmful, words and phrases from going out, in an environment, that's really what we see as kind of our 2.0 of the use of technology, from a enterprise wide standpoint. If we can prevent these biases from going out, and really start to educate people as to how they can be harmful, that's when we really feel like we'll be tackling this issue completely.
Well, yeah, and the only what I'll add to that is, it's again, and Nina and I've done multiple trainings on this, but a lot of times people don't know, right, that what they're saying or typing um, can come across and can offend in a certain way, or can offend a very specific group of people. Then we get into microaggressions and
Yep.
dehumanization comments and things like that. And so, but it's because I think in this country in particular, there's sensitivity to being called biased or whatever. And I think it's just important to know that, and this is what gives me hope, right? Is that most people, it's not on purpose, and this
You are
is,
spot on,
yeah,
UB, and that's it. Like, we all grow up with, bias, whether it's, environmental bias, or, whatever. It generally isn't a bad thing. We do these things to develop like safety mechanisms, right? And our tools aren't ever meant to be used from a punitive standpoint, but getting back to what you were just saying, we want to use the technology as an opportunity to educate people as to why the words and phrases that they may be using could be potentially harmful to others. And kind of shining a light on people's data, to really understand, like, okay, where are these harmful words and phrases and statements coming from, okay, and what can we do with this now? So that's really what our goal is to not be punitive with any of these technologies, but to really be able to have these meaningful conversations, so that people understand that why the things that I may be typing or saying could be offensive to other people.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for that. I mean, I think everything you shared with us today is so powerful for our listeners to be able to just start thinking about all the different ways. I mean, everything that you're doing with BPM, there's just so many different angles in shifting this needle of change that needs to happen. And so, Dean, just want to thank you so much for joining us on the podcast today and sharing all your insights and wisdoms, and keep on doing the great work that you're doing. And also, how can folks reach you if they want to get involved and start working with you directly?
Yeah, Nina, thank you again so much for having me today. And I also potentially look forward, I love what you and UB and Mike are doing, potentially finding a way for us to collaborate at BPM as well. And so the best way for folks to reach us is just through our website at, blackprogressmatters.org. And there's several ways that people can partner with us. And just if they go to that page, uh, www.blackprogressmatters.org, they can pick and choose how they want to participate and help change the way we work in America.
awesome, cool. Thank you so much, Dean. Yeah, I same. We love finding people out there doing work for the same reasons, right, to accomplish the same things. And so it's always great when we can find a synergy to do this together, because it's we can't individually do it all. So thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for being on the show. Thank you, everybody, for continuing to listen. Send Mike your good vibes to help him get better, and we will catch you next time. Take care.
Yes, thank you both, and have a great restful weekend. Thank you.
You
Take
too.
care, everyone.